Welcome, beloved ones. There's a specific moment that changes everything. Not when you prove yourself, not when you defend yourself, but when the people who underestimated you finally realize what they've done. And by then, it's already over. The damage isn't to you anymore. It's to them. Because once someone recognizes they targeted the wrong person, played the wrong game, and miscalculated the wrong opponent, there's no recovery from that. The shift isn't dramatic. It's cold, quiet, and absolutely irreversible. What makes this moment so powerful is that you don't have to announce it. You don't have to gloat or explain. The realization hits them on their own, usually in private, usually when they're replaying everything they said and did, trying to figure out where it all went wrong. And the answer is simple. And they messed with someone who didn't need their approval, who didn't fear their tactics, and didn't break under their pressure. Here's what most people don't understand about power dynamics. The loudest person in the room is rarely the most dangerous. The one who stayed calm, who absorbed every attack without flinching, who moved strategically while everyone else was being emotional. That's the one you don't want as an enemy, and your enemies just figured that out. Too late. Way too late. Because by the time they realized who they were dealing with, you'd already repositioned yourself beyond their reach. You didn't just survive their attacks. You used them as fuel. Every lie they spread, every attempt to discredit you, every moment they thought they were winning, you were building something they couldn't see. And now that it's visible, now that the results are undeniable, they're sitting in the wreckage of their own arrogance, trying to figure out how someone they dismissed became untouchable. They missed every single warning sign because they were too busy celebrating what they thought was your downfall. While they were laughing, making jokes, and spreading rumors, you were moving in silence. You weren't defending yourself because you didn't need to. You knew something they didn't. Time reveals everything, and you had the patience to let it play out. That patience wasn't weakness. It was strategy. It was confidence. It was the kind of quiet assurance that only comes from knowing your foundation is solid, your truth is undeniable, and your resilience is unbreakable. They mistook your silence for defeat, your calmness for confusion, and your restraint for inability to fight back. Every assumption they made was wrong. What they didn't realize is that you were studying them the entire time. Every move they made, every tactic they used, every person they tried to turn against you, you were watching. Not with anger, not with bitterness, but with clarity. You understood their playbook better than they did because you weren't clouded by ego or desperation. You saw the patterns, recognized the manipulation, and understood exactly what kind of people you were dealing with. And instead of reacting emotionally, you responded strategically. You didn't give them the satisfaction of seeing you rattled. You didn't give them ammunition to use against you. You simply continued moving forward, building, growing, and becoming stronger, while they exhausted themselves, trying to tear you down. The signs were there from the beginning. Your consistency when they expected chaos. Your composure when they anticipated breakdown. Your progress when they predicted failure. Each of these should have been a red flag that they were dealing with someone operating on a different level. But they were too blinded by their own agenda to notice. They were so convinced of their narrative about you that they ignored the evidence right in front of them. They ignored the fact that you never begged for their approval. They ignored the fact that you never changed your story to fit their accusations. They ignored the fact that pressure didn't break you. It refined you. And now they're paying the price for that ignorance. There's a specific moment when it hits them. Usually, it's not dramatic. It's quiet, private, and absolutely devastating. Maybe it's when they see you succeeding in ways they said you never would. Maybe it's when someone they respect validates your story and suddenly their lies look obvious. Maybe it's when they realize that the connections they thought they had, the influence they believed was permanent, means nothing in the face of your undeniable results. Whatever the trigger, the realization is the same. They targeted someone who didn't need their permission to rise, didn't require their validation to succeed, and definitely didn't depend on their approval to matter. That's when the panic sets in. The panic isn't loud. It's the kind that keeps them up at night, replaying conversations, analyzing every interaction, trying to figure out when the power shifted. And they start noticing how people treat you differently now. They see doors opening for you that were mysteriously closed before. They watch as opportunities, respect, and recognition flow toward you naturally while they're left scrambling to maintain the illusion of relevance. And the most painful part for them is understanding that this shift wasn't because you fought harder or screamed louder. It was because you were always operating on a level they couldn't reach. Your foundation was real. Your integrity was solid. Your truth was unshakable. All the things they tried to destroy were the exact things that made you indestructible. This realization creates a specific type of regret that's almost impossible to process. It's not the regret of losing something. It's the regret of revealing who they truly are in the process of attacking someone who didn't deserve it. Every lie they told is now attached to their name. Every manipulation is now part of their legacy. Every attempt to diminish you has become evidence of their character, not yours. They can't undo the messages they sent, the rumors they spread, or the energy they invested in trying to break you. All of that is permanent. And now, instead of being remembered for anything positive, they'll be remembered as the people who targeted someone they should have left alone. The most powerful thing about this entire situation is your response, or rather, your lack of response. You didn't need to clap back, create expose posts, or publicly humiliate them. You didn't waste energy on revenge, or spend sleepless nights plotting their downfall. And you simply continued being who you've always been, focused, consistent, and unmoved by their desperate attempts to shake you. That unbothered energy is what truly terrifies them, because it means they never had the power they thought they did. They never got under your skin. They never made you question yourself. They never succeeded in making you smaller. All they did was expose themselves while you kept building. Your silence has been louder than any words could ever be. While they were busy creating narratives, you were creating results. While they were focused on destroying your reputation, you were focused on building your reality. And reality always wins over perception. Always. The beautiful irony is that their attacks actually helped you. Not because you needed them, but because surviving them proved something to yourself that you might not have fully realized before. You learned that external validation doesn't define you. You discovered that other people's opinions can't shake your foundation. You understood that truth doesn't need defense, it just needs time. And that understanding made you untouchable in ways they'll never comprehend. There's something deeply satisfying about watching people realize they lost a battle they started. You didn't ask for the conflict. You didn't provoke the attack. You were simply existing, pursuing your path, and being true to yourself. They chose to make you a target. They chose to invest their energy in trying to diminish you. They chose to spread lies and manipulate situations. And now they're living with the consequences of those choices while you're thriving in spite of them. The lesson here isn't about revenge or vindication. It's about the natural order of things. Truth eventually surfaces, lies eventually collapse, and people who move with integrity eventually rise, while those who move with manipulation eventually fall. The damage they've done to themselves is permanent, not because you're holding a grudge or refusing to forgive, but because actions have consequences and reputation is earned over time, but destroyed in moments. Every person they tried to turn against you, every lie they told, every manipulation they attempted, has left a trail. And that trail doesn't disappear just because they suddenly realize they made a mistake. People remember, not always the specific details, but the energy, the pattern, the character that was revealed. And once people see someone's true character, especially in how they treat others when they think nobody important is watching, trust is broken in ways that can't be fully repaired. What makes this particularly devastating for them is the understanding that they can't simply apologize their way out of this. An apology doesn't erase the months or years of targeted harassment. It doesn't undo the damage they attempted to cause. It doesn't restore the time and energy you had to spend defending yourself or the peace you lost while dealing with their attacks. More importantly, an apology at this stage looks exactly like what it is. Not genuine remorse, but damage control. Not a change of heart, but a strategic retreat. They're not sorry for what they did. They're sorry they got caught, sorry their tactics didn't work, and sorry they're now facing consequences they never anticipated. That kind of apology is worthless, and everyone knows it. The professional damage is often the most visible. Doors that were open to them start closing. Opportunities start going to others. People who once respected them start distancing themselves, not because of anything you said or did, but because their own behavior spoke volumes. When someone operates with manipulation, dishonesty, and targeted malice, it eventually catches up with them. The same energy they put out comes back, often amplified. They burned bridges they didn't know they'd need. They created enemies they didn't anticipate. And they revealed character flaws that can't be hidden once exposed. All of this happened because they chose to target someone who didn't deserve it, someone who was stronger than they calculated, and someone who didn't fight back in the ways they expected, but in ways they couldn't defend against. This entire situation teaches something that goes beyond individual conflict. It's about the fundamental truth that how you treat people matters, especially when you think nobody's watching, or when you think the person you're targeting has no power. Because power isn't always obvious, strength isn't always loud, and influence isn't always immediate. The person you dismiss today might be the person everyone respects tomorrow. The individual you underestimate now might be operating on a level you don't have access to yet. And the target you choose might turn out to be the worst decision you ever made. But not because they sought revenge, but because they simply continued being excellent while you revealed your worst. There's profound wisdom in understanding that your character is revealed not in how you treat people who can benefit you, but in how you treat people you think can't hurt you. Your enemies failed that test spectacularly. They showed their true nature when they thought it was safe to do so, when they thought you were vulnerable, when they thought nobody important was paying attention, but someone was paying attention. Multiple people were. And more importantly, the universe has a way of balancing things out. Call it natural consequences. Call it energy returning. Call it whatever makes sense to you. But the principle remains the same. What you put out comes back. The energy you invest in others eventually returns to you. And the way you treat people especially in their vulnerable moments, defines who you are far more than any success or achievement ever could. For you, this experience has been transformative in ways that go beyond vindication. You've learned that your worth isn't determined by other people's perception. You've discovered that you're stronger than you knew. You've understood that consistency and integrity eventually win, even when it takes longer than expected. Most importantly, you've realized that you don't need to fight every battle, defend every accusation, or respond to every attack. Sometimes the most powerful response is simply continuing to be excellent, continuing to grow, and continuing to move forward while letting time and truth handle the rest. That's not weakness. That's wisdom. That's maturity. That's the kind of strength that most people never develop because they're too busy reacting, defending, and trying to prove themselves to everyone around them. The future from this point forward looks completely different for both you and them. For you, it's liberation. You've been validated, not necessarily by universal applause, but by the undeniable results of your consistency and the obvious collapse of their false narrative. You're free to move forward without the weight of their judgment, without the burden of their manipulation, and without any need to prove yourself to people who are never going to see your value anyway. That freedom is priceless. It allows you to operate at full capacity, to take bigger risks, to pursue bolder goals, and to exist without constantly looking over your shoulder, wondering what they'll say or do next. They no longer matter. Not because you're being petty or dismissive, but because they've revealed they were never worth the energy you gave them. For them, the future is uncomfortable. They have to exist knowing they targeted someone who not only survived, but thrived. They have to live with the reputation they've created for themselves. They have to face the people who now see them differently, who now question their judgment and character. Most painfully, they have to confront themselves in quiet moments when nobody else is around, when they can't perform or pretend, when they have to acknowledge the truth about who they chose to be in this situation. That internal confrontation is often more devastating than any external consequence because it's inescapable. They can avoid you. They can avoid certain people or situations, but they can't avoid themselves. And that's where the real accountability lives. The lesson for anyone watching this unfold, whether they're directly involved or just observing, is clear and powerful. Be careful who you target. Be mindful of how you treat people. Be conscious of the energy you put into the world, because it always comes back. You never fully know who you're dealing with. That quiet person might have connections you're not aware of. That unbothered individual might have a level of inner strength you can't comprehend. That person you're dismissing might be operating on a plane you don't have access to. And your inability to recognize their value doesn't diminish it. It only reveals your own limitations, your own insecurities, and your own character flaws. Every person you encounter deserves basic respect and dignity, not because of what they can do for you, but because it's the right way to move through the world. Everything we've covered here points to one undeniable truth. They realized too late that they messed with the wrong person, not because you're vindictive, aggressive, or vengeful, but because you're solid, consistent, and unbreakable. You didn't need to become what they expected to prove you could handle them. You didn't need to adopt their tactics to win. You simply needed to be yourself, stay true to your values, and trust that time would reveal the truth. And it did. Their realization came too late to undo the damage to their own reputation, too late to repair the relationships they destroyed, and too late to change the narrative that's now firmly established. They messed with someone who didn't need their approval to matter, didn't require their validation to succeed, and definitely didn't depend on their acceptance to thrive. Your story from this point forward is entirely yours to write. You're no longer defined by their attacks, limited by their perception, or concerned with their opinion. You've proven everything that needed to be proven, not through words, but through actions, results, and undeniable presence. The people who matter already see you clearly. The opportunities that align with your purpose are already opening. And the peace that comes from knowing you stayed true to yourself throughout this entire ordeal is already yours. That's the ultimate victory. Not destroying them, not public humiliation, not revenge, but simply being so solidly rooted in your truth that their attempts to shake you only revealed your strength while exposing their weakness. If this resonated with you, if you've experienced something similar, or if you're currently in the middle of a situation where people are underestimating you, remember this: your response doesn't have to be loud to be powerful. Your defense doesn't have to be aggressive to be effective. And your victory doesn't have to be public to be real. Sometimes the most devastating response is simply continuing to be excellent while they scramble to explain why their tactics didn't work. Stay consistent. Stay grounded. Stay focused on your path. And trust that everyone eventually reveals who they are. Your job isn't to expose them. Your job is to keep being undeniably, authentically, powerfully you. The rest takes care of itself. If you found value in this message, make sure you subscribe to stay connected to content that empowers, elevates, and equips you for the journey ahead. Hit that like button to let us know this landed. Drop a comment sharing your experience or the moment you realize people underestimated the wrong one. And share this with someone who needs to hear that their consistency is about to pay off in ways their enemies never saw coming. You're not just surviving anymore. You're thriving, and they're just now realizing what that means. Way too late. Stay powerful.